Hello guys and welcome to F1 2015. This is going to be a bit of a mix between a first look video and basically a short race here. Basically what we're going to be doing is a 25% race around Albert Park, Melbourne, Australia, and basically I'm just going to be doing this to get a feel for how the game actually acts and how the AI is going to be performing and all kinds of different stuff just to see what we can expect here in the coming months or so.
Albert Park, Australia for today's race, and I think it's shaping up to be a classic. As we're now only moments away from the off, let's take a look at the grid order in which they'll start today's race.
And we are going to be taking a seat here next to Sebastian Vettel and the Ferrari team. We're going to be playing the role of the Iceman himself, Kimi Räikkönen, here today. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the AI is going to be performing here in F1 2015. I don't do much multiplayer anymore. I got a little bit fed up with a lot of people just, you know, the typical troll there being lapped and taking out the race leaders though. So the AI is going to be a huge deal for me, obviously, because if I'm going to be playing this game for a couple of months, well, basically the AI needs to be good. Graphics and everything, sure, that's nice enough, but the quality of the AI pretty much determines how long I'm going to be playing this game for. Anyways, getting off the grid here, we are directly behind Felipe Massa, Sebastian Vettel coming into turn one. Somebody gives us a tap from behind there. I'm not sure who that was. We almost spin out here in turn one. That would have been a short race, but it appears that we're actually building up a little bit of a gap there down to whoever's in fifth position. That is Grosjean off the Lotus team there, but I'm not really sure it was he who initiated the contact. But anyways, it appears that we have a little bit of air both ahead of us, that's not a good thing, and behind us as well. Vettel overtook Massa there in turn one, I believe, if I'm not much mistaken anyway. And currently, we are trying to chase down Felipe Massa in the Williams car. And as you'll notice, we are doing this race in the cockpit cam here. There's two reasons for that, really. One is I've been playing a lot of Project Cars lately, so I'm kind of getting used to the cockpit cam there. That TV pot there just seemed a little bit off to me. I might be going back to it later on, I'm not really sure. But I really wanted to do this with my Track IR enabled as well, but for some reason I just can't get it working in F1 2015. I'm not really sure whether or not the game actually supports Track IR. I'm going to be very disappointed if it turns out that it doesn't. Judging by the first lap here, I definitely need to adjust my force feedback settings because I'm not getting much feed at the moment here. Nothing wrong with the game there. That's not the game issue. I think it's probably just me having turned it way too far down, because if you turned it way up in F1 2014, the Thrustmaster TX, which I'm using, basically tore your arms off if you weren't paying attention. So anyway, lap one here, we are currently running in P5, trying to chase down Felipe Massa here. We are currently running ahead of Grosjean, who is in P6, and it appears that he has quite a few cars right behind him there. But basically, at the moment here, we seem to be keeping pace. This is not Legend AI. This is just basic expert AI, because this is literally my first attempt at F1 2015 here, so I really didn't know what to expect, to be perfectly honest, especially in the cockpit cam. That's usually a little bit more difficult than the TV pod cam. So for this race, we're using expert AI. We're going to be bumping that up to Legend if we're going to be doing any sorts of series or whatever we decide to do later on. And also, I haven't been messing around with setting up the car much. The car setup menu is completely different from last year's and the year before that, and basically every other year, that is. And I haven't really had time to get into it properly, so all we just did was adjust our wings, pretty much like I was expecting them to be for the Australian Grand Prix here. So you might be seeing some subpar performance on different parts of the track and some better performance on other parts of the track. But currently we are about a second and a half off of the fastest cars, which I definitely expect to be the Mercs. And just after a couple of laps here, I've noticed there's quite a bit of difference in braking here from this particular game and, say, F1 2014. F1 2014, you almost had to pretty much stomp on the brakes there if you wanted to lock them up. That happens a lot more here in F1 2015. I think it was F1 2012 or something like that, that would also lock up your tires pretty badly if you weren't paying attention. Not really sure. Kind of feels the same in this game, although I haven't been playing F1 2012 for like ages, so I may be completely off on that. I just seem to remember it being that way. Anyway, getting back to the race at hand here, going down the inside of Felipe Massa here. We're on lap 4 out of 15. I guess we're going to be making one pit stop here, and that'll be interesting to see just how that plays out compared to the earlier releases in the series here. But currently we are running in P4, trying to chase down Sebastian Vettel there with Felipe Massa right behind us. And AI-wise, I have to say I've tried a few 3-lap races here earlier today, and one thing that I've noticed is that the AI is a lot less likely to let you have a corner. I'm not talking about whether or not they're going to be backing out of an overtake attempt. Usually when you can see, say, Massa going down the inside of us right here, he's going to be backing out of that one. That's pretty much standard F1 2014 AI behavior, although they seem to be breaking a little later here this year. What is different, though, is that if you went neck and neck into a turn and turned alongside an AI car, more often than not, what he would do it was run wide just to give you the space. That is not the case this year. He will happily keep his line and take the collision over giving you space there. So be wary about that when negotiating those first early turns after a start there with loads of traffic. Anyways, coming into the pits here on lap 7, and it'll be interesting to see just how that plays out. 3.871, that's a bit of a long stop, but it appears that we also got held back a little bit because we have Valtteri Bottas right ahead of us right now, and I distinctly remember him being behind us when we actually went into change. So a bit of a tough break there, but not too much we can do about that. Jumping ahead to lap 8 here, we're trying to catch Bottas here, but we've cranked the engine into rich mode here, but I'm kind of having a hard time adjusting to the prime tires. And you'll remember we started out on the options, and if you didn't remember, you know now. And obviously the primes just don't have the same grip that the options do, and given that we're running in rich mode like I was talking about, my rear end seems to be stepping out, coming out of turns quite a bit here, so I'm not really catching Bottas at this point. Skipping right ahead to lap 10, it appears that our buddy Grosjean is starting to put us under some pressure here from behind. We've had a couple of so-so laps there running a little wide in certain turns, and as such we are going to be putting the engine back into standard mode because obviously rich mode is just not doing me any favors at the moment here. And Grosjean is probably running in rich mode himself there because he's been very aggressive at this point. And that's another thing about the AI here. Coming into turns, obviously the AI might break a little early, but they seem to be a lot more aggressive in picking the inside line compared to what they've done in recent years. And obviously I'll need to test this out a little bit more, but it does seem that the AI in general has definitely taken a step up from what we're used to. And also, as some of you may or may not have noticed there, the race engineer seems to be coming on air quite a bit more here than in previous titles, but that's okay at this point anyway, because it does seem that he's relaying useful information most of the time there. He'll routinely check in to tell you whether or not your tires are too hot or too cold, and this year it actually seems to be, you know, following the general temperatures of the tires, which might not have always been the case in earlier releases. Also, he'll happily tell you how much fuel you have left and whether or not you're down to 50% and stuff like that. And obviously you can always see this in the car status, but if you don't have time to check it yourself, it's nice enough to know. Anyway, getting back to the race here, lap 14. We're going to be coming out on the final lap of the race here pretty soon, and these prime tires are actually getting a little bit worn. Remember, this is a very short race, so obviously they're not going to be holding up for more than about 7 or 8 laps. And we run wide here in the left-hander, giving Grosjean the opportunity to completely close the gap on us, and he's probably going to be putting us under pressure here on the straight. I'm betting he's going to have DRS, yes, and he's Gonna try and move down the inside there, very aggressive. Well, he brakes early, but then he sort of thinks the better of it, tries to squeeze through anyway, but then has to back out in the end. So generally the AI a lot more aggressive this year, but also they are a lot more firm in standing their ground. If they feel they have a line, they're gonna be sticking to it. Doesn't really matter what you do. In previous releases, I always got the feeling that they were sort of prone to give you all kinds of space, even though he really didn't deserve it. Anyway, as you can see there, Lewis Hamilton already taking the win in this race. Not really sure who's going to be rounding off the podium there, but I do know that we are going to be finishing 4th here today, and 19 cars out of 20 starters are going to be finishing. So we had one DNF, and I'm not really sure who that was. Didn't see any accidents early in the race there, and I didn't see any yellow flag situations either. So chances are somebody had a mechanical failure or so, but all I know is that one car did not finish the race.
Mercedes have won today's race, and what a result for the team. Niki Lauda rightly called it as one of the drives of the season.
So there you have it, guys. My preview video here of F1 2015. I am definitely going to be going a lot more under the hood with this game over the past couple of weeks. And if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to this channel for more F1 2015 action.